The other thing we do when we go out, we have the CSETI tones. And these you can use it through your iPhone with some speakers, and we just play them, and we get a little radio. And people say, what channel? I said, any walkie-talkie, and just send it up. When you hear, this is our signature tone that we send out into space. That's the original tone. Came into a crop circle. It was of a frequency that it blew out a beta cam for the BBC. And it was a signal that got recorded that then was put on a loop, and each time you hear it, it's slowed down by half. When you hear the component, it's almost like a heartbeat, an ultrasound listening to a heart beat, beep, 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 beep. And when you have these tones with your lights and your thought, it's the CSETI triangle again. So again, tonality, these tones, light, and consciousness and thought. So those are the three elements we use coordinated out under the stars. We usually open our meeting with, when we're setting up, playing these tones, putting the laser up, and just connecting with the Earth and the ETs and letting them know where we are. So we're not playing this the whole time we're meditating. It'd be too distracting. So we just do it intermittently, and it breaks. But it's very important to do. This is the CSETI triangle that I was talking about. This was a crop circle that we visualized and sent to the ETs. I don't know if we need all these floodlights. They're not going to be able to see a lot. So we were seeing this formation in our minds, sent it up to the ETs, and then this, thank you. That's what I was talking about half hour ago. Well, it doesn't matter if people can see me. It is more important that they see this. And so here's another, we have a member of our team who's a famous space artist, and just switch that off. And this object appeared. Do you see the red laser? Look at the shape of it. It's very unusual. And this was a communication system device. He was doing the CE5, and he stopped his van, his car, and took this picture. I not long ago got from the French military exactly the same object in a drawing from 1968, and that was in 1990 something, 92. So this one you saw, this was in the film Sirius. We can take this off if you I don't know if there's a way to get rid of that bar. These were 1, 2, 3. There were eventually 4 bluish white. Now they don't look that way on this film, and this is great to hear the sound on this. I guess there's no ability to turn on off the sound. Okay, all right. And this is the one where the guy goes, "Holy damn hot shit." But the reason he was so astounded is that this is an old High 8 film. It wasn't digital, it was pre-digital. This is in 92. And I was signaling to them. We had done the meditation. They popped into, they didn't move in. They materialized in front of us. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And I was making a triangle in the sky.
Oh, look, did you see
Then they came in and made a triangle.
They're signaling.
Reproducing what we were doing. There were 2 colonels from the Air Force there, and as it turns out, a guy named Moore, who wrote Bush's Brain about Karl Rove, he was there. And yeah, that book, about Karl Rove. But here they are, and they're moving towards us against a stiff wind coming off the Gulf of Mexico in March 1992. As this was going on, the part that isn't filmed, because there's no camera I know that would have captured it, we were in a circle by the ocean, and it was very windy. And amongst us and near the cars were these shimmering, almost holographic forms. Here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they were about 30, 40 feet in diameter each. And these little beings started moving around us, and there were several women jumped in their pickup trucks and roared back to Pensacola. Now, a member of our team in New Mexico was doing CE5 during the day, meditating, and she couldn't see anything, but she clipped this picture. And very important that you understand, you may not see it with the naked eye, but it's there. And this is a seamless, sort of sombrero-shaped golden object, and it's been analyzed. It was estimated to be moving maybe around 500 miles an hour just from the blur factor. And it was a CE5 outside Santa Fe. This is what I was talking about. When I decided to buy this estate where I live now, this appeared in the meadow of the land of the man who was representing us to buy the property. And it's basically the C-city triangle, but the line going to the center instead of the outside, with these three other C-city triangle here in the center, a smaller one, and then a central circle. So it's variations on a theme. It's more of a tetrahedron looking. So it's like a 3D representation of the triangle or the mantra. And it was the ETs saying, welcome to your new home, and this is a good move for you. It was on the front page of the weekly paper. I couldn't believe it. So once you get plugged into these civilizations, they do all kinds of beautiful things to let you know that you're not alone. And in fact, we're never alone. This is a beautiful series of events that happened. It was, again, an early event in the 90s at Mount Shasta, a high 8 camera, no night scope. So I really need to describe it, but basically an object that was a triangular craft around, we're estimating 800 miles to 1,000 miles across. It was exo-atmospheric. It was seen from Vancouver all the way down to LA. I remember Art Bell getting hundreds of calls about it. We had created a CE5 protocol where after we do the meditation and remote viewing and the coherent thought sequencing to invite them in, I did a prayer for the healing of planet Earth where we asked the ETs to join. They loved it so much they came in, and it was this massive triangle, and it actually flips end on end. These are just the points that you can see 3 edges of the triangle, and it was really astonishing. Unfortunately, it was a very poor camera. We have much better cameras now. But they were saying to me, yes, do that, because we will join you in this consciousness that will heal and guide the earth and humanity. Oh, it just froze. Oh, okay, yeah, just let it roll. This is an object that was in the atmosphere in Crestone, Colorado, where I had a ranch, right above the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. And it was much brighter, or as bright as a bright satellite, but visible in broad daylight. And we have satellite charts when we go out. Anytime you go out, you should have either an app or a printed out of all the satellites in the sky. If you don't, you're going to misidentify satellites as UFOs. Everyone does it. You've got to go out with a satellite chart. Here it comes. And look at it, it suddenly picks up enormous speed and zips off towards the northeast. These are the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. Bye-bye. And then this was at Joshua Tree right before the National Press Club event. I was told I needed to come even though I didn't have time, for the Disclosure Project took up all my time. And we were hiking out of a cave where we had done a meditation, where we were told this vision must guide the world of what we're doing. And Sherry always appeared. She had passed away, my right-hand assistant, best friend, and they murdered her, and they tried to kill me, but she was always a pink mist. And this is this ET I call kindness, that Sherry introduced me to in a lucid dream the night of her passing. And this is actually a ship, cobalt blue, and there's almost never have we gone out for a whole week where kindness it doesn't show up. And it's usually blue, white, or blue, and it appears, and it can come in and make right-hand turns. Sometimes it'll actually shine a blue light into the circle. And that's a senior ET whose name I created, Kindness, because when I met her, she was the quintessence of kindliness. So this we have to hear. Unfortunately, again, I don't know if we have no sound. When I was talking yesterday at Mount Shasta about this, This is when this hour today, there was this tone that came through when we were in deep meditation. And at that instant, that we heard this tone that I hopefully will be able to play, the ship, it was a carrier wave for the ship. And in your consciousness, you could see this spherical, pearlescent, almost pearl gray object float from one side of the field through the circle in our minds and out the other side. And almost everyone saw it in their consciousness. But it was carried by this tonality, very Vedic. You know, the Vedic concept of name and form, or sound and form, where here it goes. Yeah, most computers have. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's moved on. This is another event that I apologize we don't have sound on some of these. This came in. What is this? All right. Someone said, "Oh, it's a mosquito flying over." I know it isn't. Watch. I'm looking. This is me, and I'm looking up at this object right above us, and I look down. See me looking. This comes in, and it's almost like it's a communication rod that came in, and it stayed in the center of the circle the entire night. But in a trans-dimension, you'd have to look sideways with soft eyes, and you could see this thing shining. At the end of the night, a man went over and saw this green light in the center of where we had been, in the center of our circle, and tried to pick it up, but he couldn't. This is an interesting object. This is in the ultraviolet range. A member of our team in Australia, her dog wanted her to go outside and was sensing something and ran right underneath this object. And it went into the water. She lived on the water there. And very bright, and we analyzed it. It was in the ultraviolet range. In an ideal world, we'd have 360 cameras at all times in the visible spectrum, night vision, infrared, and ultraviolet. But that's a very expensive setup. This is me signaling to something that comes in. Watch. It's not a satellite. Now, we call these cosmic flash bulbs, and what they really are, there's a craft sitting out there, we're connecting to it, and it just lights itself up to let you know they're there. This is Mount Shasta, and look what's in the field. Look at these things. This is not anomalies. Now, this is with a night vision camera. Watch this. Triangle appears right in the field. So if you see one of these objects, two of them, watch. They will actually light up the trees around them. So these are coming in. They're like very fast. And when you see them, the reason that's all you're seeing is that's all you're seeing in this dimension of an interstellar craft that's coming in at the crossing point of light and is just letting you know they're there. And then they dematerialize, and they're sitting with you all night in the field, superimposed on space-time. Watch this one. Lights up, and it's like a lightning bolt in front of this tree. This was about 50 feet from us. Actually, my wife was with me and saw this one. Saw this with the naked eye, by the way. Another one. And people ask me, how many of these have we seen? Tens of thousands. We never do this protocol where we don't have the interstellar transdimensional manifestations like this, ever. And here's an object, no satellites up at this hour. It was at a time of night past when the shadow of the earth and the sun, there were no satellites. This comes in, and when I signal to it, look what it does. Beautiful. And it goes away. Now people say, well, what's going on with this? I said, well, they're basically connecting to us, letting us know they're there, and then we go on their craft in consciousness and travel out in the space with them. Well, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Some people have a hard time doing that at the very first week, but if you practice it, you, instead of just sitting there like a lump in your bodies, let your consciousness, which is infinite and omnipresent, go on board the ship and travel with them, and they will take you into other dimensions and to their worlds. Look at the size of this one. This one was a blue-white one, and I'm pretty sure it was kindness. This ET that had perfectly round head, beautiful almond-shaped eyes, very small, not as small as the Atacama humanoid, but kindness is sort of the reason I named her that is she's the incarnation of just pure kindliness and enlightenment. Just beautiful, beautiful ET. And she's always with us when we're out now. She's a very senior ambassador and very enlightened from an advanced civilization that's been cleared to interact with us. Look at her. This is her. Look at that. Visible massively with the naked eye. Past the hour when there are any satellites visible in the sky. Now these are objects, the Air Force has called them fast walkers. There's a movie made of that. Look at this disk. Not a falling star. It's going up, and you can see the disk shape of it. See it? There it goes. It came up out of the volcano. This is the Pleiades, by the way. Straight up. Now, we see this all the time when we're out. And at Mount Shasta, often, like that one that we just saw, not this one, the previous one, actually emerged out of the volcano, because deep in the volcano is a transdimensional interstellar base that's been operative since the Lemurians and the continent out in the Pacific that sank. You all know about that? Yeah, most of you do. Hey, it's a weekend, not a year. I can only go into so much. I mean, look at this. Came out and going up. And it was more like a ball. This is not a falling star. This is not a tail. There was no visible tail. It's a night scope, and so when it's very bright, it leaves a streak in the film. Here's another one going upward. And by the way, when these occur, usually, if we had the sound, you'd be able to hear the detectors going off. They'll appear, and suddenly the detectors that I've just showed you, these electromagnetic devices, magnetometer, radar detector, what have you, will start talking, either just before or during. Now, these are the Orion transmissions. If you can put a mic, I'll put a mic. If I could find the speaker. Where's the speaker on this?
And we are being bathed in celestial knowledge and light. Look at this, various frequencies
Simultaneously.
Look at this, various frequencies simultaneously. Now see the craft that is here around us in your astral celestial vision, and the beings who are here. Open your hands like this and let their energy pour into you. The knowledge of this transmission. I told our group that as soon as we arrived and made circle here, this would happen.
Yeah, you did.
Didn't I?
You did.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other detector. There's two of them.
Is that yet another frequency of the
Yeah.
EM?
Yep. I said yes.
See, the one under my chair
There's a being right here.
speaks loudly
Right
and
here.
softly.
There's a being right here. You can't hear me. Oh my God. Oh my God, they're coming.
This went on for 23 minutes, and that was when the crystal began to radiate the energy I spoke of last night. Here's an object. We're walking on the beach. A member of our team senses, and this object comes into this dimension in the haze. And the previous night, the same object came in and went into the ocean, and it stayed there with us the entire week on the outer banks of North Carolina, the barrier islands. Here's a enhancement that shows the disk's shape. The night before, we didn't get it on camera, it came in and it was 3 inches at arm's length. That's how big it was. And it would materialize as a golden ship, dematerialize, and it materialized and go straight into the ocean. This is one of the most astonishing events ever. We're on the ocean. A craft had come across the sky and gone into the ocean that I just mentioned. And this is our circle. And suddenly on the beach, for an entire hour, 90 feet from us, this is the edge of the ocean and the waves. See them breaking? And on the sand, 90 feet from our circle, is a teal blue, white, and golden object. And it completely without any other visible phenomenon. These are not fireflies, and they had color and they had intelligence. And each time they went off, they were sending to us packets of information. And really, they were shifted beyond the speed of light.
Protective, holding the protection. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The human cabal that has been targeting these things are being held off so this can be here visible for people. This is amazing that this is visible. Oh, there it is.
Look at how bright.
Did you see it?
It's doing it every 3
Now, everyone saw this with the naked eye, not just the night scopes. It went on for an hour, at the end of which I walked into the area where these 3 objects had been going off for an hour. And I went into an energy field, and the people behind me saw me dematerialize. I just felt very light, like I was levitating. But then there was a curtain of light above me that I went through, and I realized that they were asking me to leave. And I could have, but I knew it wasn't time, and I just burst into
filming
tears.
this with the night
It was so
scope.
emotional.
Has everyone seen this at least once or twice?
Yeah.
It's done it about 100 times, I think.
Yeah, over 100 times.
But you know,
In the
there,
same
it was
spot.
right. It was just exactly right here.
That's my
It
laser.
was right here. Did you see it? Okay.
So these were the God consciousness level interstellars that were, the ship was in the ocean. They were teleported onto the beach as points of consciousness that were visible with the naked eye, and they were communicating with us for an hour. You'll want to do this sometime? Let's go do it. It's so beautiful. Look at this. This is one of the most important pieces of video in history. You won't believe this when it goes slow. People go crazy. We were doing the contact protocols. This object in the field lifts straight up. Watch it. It turns to the left. Great camera work. Todd. Look at this. Watch out. Look at it right here. It's going. It's like going in and out of this dimension, almost like a caterpillar. It's shrinking. Watch it now. Lift up. Straight up. This is a light ship. It is ET, and it had been there with us that evening. It took off because of a threat that came in, but it went off into deep space. Is that stunning? Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. We did a conference in Rio Rico for a couple hundred people. We're sitting on a roof of a hotel, and this comes in right above the group. It's a partially materialized, tetrahedral shaped, massive ship that was right above us. Yeah. As soon as this happened, the sky was filled with jets. There were special forces that broke into my room. You wouldn't believe what goes on. If you did it in a movie, no one would believe it could be true. Look at that disc. Now, the streak wasn't the tail. Again, that's the night vision scope light cells because it's so bright. Look at this thing. You can see the shape of it. It's very disc-shaped, like the one that came up out of Mount Shasta, that cork, one I call that corkscrews through space and sort of is going in and out of space-time. Well, watch this. Not a falling star. Are y'all enjoying this? Is this helpful? Okay, well, because it gives imagery to some of what I've been trying to describe for the last day or so. And if you go out with your own teams, you'll see much of this. But I want to explain what's going on. It's all interacting with consciousness and with our intent, and they always try to let us know they're there with us. We've never done a week expedition where kindness hasn't appeared and several dozen of these others. Now this, of course, is the most important photograph ever taken. Recently someone published something proving it was a hoax. It is not. I know the woman who took it, I was beside her. This is not an angel, looks like it, because it's an energy field. His name's Biju, he's from Andromeda Galaxy. This is not a man-made light. This is a teleportation system coming from the orb on the left. And see these two eyes, nose, has like teleportation device up here. He's waving here. His left leg is behind him, and his left leg is here. These are his boots, and it's just in this dimension. He has a concave head like Worf on the Star Trek. These two eyes, he's wearing night vision goggles. The nose is bright because the orb is over here that's holding his energy. This is his chest and abdomen. He's about 4 to 5 feet tall. He was floating right outside the group, and he was a senior ambassador. Look at the size of his head from his eyes to the top. It's at least 2 to 3 times ours. This is the one when I asked him his IQ about 450. Very, very beautiful spirit, ET. This is if you can imagine astral projection that can be done electronically, where it then bleeds into this dimension, that's what their technologies are capable of. This is not a planet. This is the orb that lit up. This is the cone of light holding his energy, and this is him. Just before this, here he is. If you contrast it, this is him. Look at the size of the head.
You sure he's not wearing a hat?
No, he's not wearing a hat. No. I think the old Jewish yarmulkes and headdresses of Darius tradition came from encounters with beings that were wearing these crown chakra teleportation devices. That's my theory. I don't think rabbis like it, but... And what you need to understand about this is that it was preceded. We were at a break, and we walked out at Geology Tour Road up here in Joshua Tree, and at the break, here he is. This is what he really looked like. Now, with the naked eye, not visible, but we heard a group of 3 or 4 ETs speaking in a language not our own. And the ETs were in a group where the photograph was taken, and only Biju allowed himself to move into the camera frame. This is a very detailed measurement. So the east field is out here. I had been down there, and this object materialized about 6 inches from my shoulder. This is what that same area looks like with a man-made flashlight. Look at the difference. With the same camera at the same setting. This is a daytime shot taken by a different camera, and it just shows our chairs were here, there was a tree here that's not in the frame, and the being, the ET, was here. Cool, huh?
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the next one right here on the Best of Dr. Steven Greer.